Like I'm on the floor for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's her.
Okay. Call to order this meeting of the Siloam Springs Board of Directors, June 4th, 2024. Roll call.
Blair.
Here.
Smiley.
Here.
Wiles.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
Allen.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
At this time, if you all will please stand with me as Director Carroll leads us in a word of prayer. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. And before Reed prays, if I could ask for just a moment of silence as we pray for our neighbors and friends who have had a lot of loss of property. Some have lost lives. So if we could just do that just for a moment, and then Director Carroll, if you will lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Father, today we give thanks for yet another beautiful day that you have given to us. But our request tonight is that we may know you. And that as we come into your house will be filled with your love. And as we look to you, we receive answers, we receive wisdom, we receive everything that is needed to do the job that you have placed before us. That we as the city of Siloam Springs will be and continue to be that beacon of light. And we can be a help to others and those around us. In these things, Father, we give thanks. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. First on our agenda is time for public input. I would ask if there is anyone here that would like to address the board on any item that is not on our regular agenda. Yes, sir. You know the rules.
Thank you, Madam
Thanks,
Mayor and
Arthur.
City Board. Yeah, Arthur Holbert, 20705 Highway 16, President Chamber of Commerce. As the mayor said about 10 days ago, several tornadoes hit Benton County. Since then, the last 10 days, Siloam Springs Chamber of Commerce has been the primary point of contact for Siloam Springs, giving donations. And I just want to compliment, for public record, and praise everyone. We've had thousands and thousands of dollars worth of supplies and gift cards and Thanksgiving, and also I cannot tell you how many thousands of pounds of things donated from Siloam Springs. I think I've made 7 truckloads back and forth. There's a lot of people think of Benton County as being very prosperous, which much of it is, but there's also pieces of it that is very much in poverty. There are people that lost everything without insurance, that don't have a place to lay their head. So we're very blessed. I just want to echo what the mayor said. Let's continue to remember that. Bring your donations to the chamber. We go there daily to Decatur as we drop it off. And if y'all know, there's at least 2 very large tornadoes that hit, one south and one north of Decatur. And 8 people across the state passed away. But a lot of good things going on from Siloam Springs. I want to thank you for your donations. Please keep them coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Is there anyone else? If not, is there anyone that would like to address the board on an item that is on our consent agenda? There is not. We will move on to our presentations. First is Brian Menace is here with us from Maxim Golf, and he is going to give us an update on the golf course. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, board, staff, and council, and the great citizens of Siloam Springs. It's a privilege to be here. Just for clarification, so that the golf course doesn't make the same mistake 2 times in a row, am I on a clock of any kind here? so.
Well, because you are an actual presentation, no, you are not
Okay,
on the
that's- well-
3-minute clock.
See, Corey, that was your mistake.
but you don't have an
didn't get
hour.
on the regular agenda, so.
You don't have an hour, though.
That was a low blow. I apologize, Corey.
We'll love her forever. That was great.
Well, thank you. It's such a privilege to be here. We have a great report tonight for the things that are happening at Siloam Springs Golf Club. And so I think the first thing to do is to thank appropriately all those that have been involved in helping us get to where we are today. And that certainly starts right here. I'm thankful for this board and the vision that you had to make the difficult decision to move the golf course forward and keep that recreation asset alive and prosperous and doing well for the citizens of Siloam Springs and for those that are visiting here who love the game of golf. And so thank you for that. And I want to thank Alan. Alan has been a tremendous asset to us. I speak to a lot of city councils because we manage a lot of golf courses in small cities. And I can just tell you on a personal note that working with Alan and his support has, it's been the cornerstone, I think, of why we've had some success there. And so to him and his staff, from Christina to Travis to Jason to the others that have lended a hand, you know, for anybody that drove by that golf course 8 months ago and would drive by it today could clearly understand. I think the greatest presentation I could give is to ask you to do that if you've not done it, just to go by and look at the golf course and the conditions of it and the number of people that are patronizing it today. But we did not get there on our own. This is a community coming together with all of its might to do something good. And I understand it's golf, and the city has probably, without question, many higher priorities than the golf course. But we've been given every asset, every advantage that we've needed to be successful, and I hope that we've been good stewards of that. So with that, I will tell you that we should just go into the presentation. Do I have to do anything, or can somebody help me with this? Do I hit an enter button? I don't know what I'm doing.
Just keep waving your hands.
Say the
everybody.
magic.
Just keep waving your hands.
Yeah,
There you go.
thank you, Alan.
That was
Appreciate
guess.
it. For anybody who wants to know what about the Greens Restoration Project, obviously the city had committed a $50,000 commitment to restore the golf course, restore the greens. It's done. It's completed. We don't have anything left to do there. The greens are really good and only getting better day by day. If anybody's been out and played, they can see that with their own eyes. The city appropriated $50,000, and the money that was actually expended towards that totaled about $47,711.52. Caveat to that, we've got some things that were part of the greens restoration budget that go on, things like equipment and things like that. So, but we managed the budget, I think, very well, and we got the result that we intended. So that's exciting because we can't have a golf course without greens. A little bit about the course update. There's a number of things that have been done here, and the city's participation in this is really why many of those things got done. We got new electrical to our pump house, which is essential to making sure we can get proper irrigation on the golf course. The bathrooms have been renovated, and they look great. I think anybody in this room could go in there and feel comfortable, which is an accomplishment for golf course bathrooms because they're not always so wonderful. But they just came out fantastic, and it was done in quick time, which was great, right in time for golf season. All unused and unrented cart sheds have been removed, so the old cart sheds that remain today are all rented. I think we're at capacity, Corey, is that right? And of course, someday in the future, hopefully we'll talk about an option to improve that situation. But we've got all the unsightly buildings tore down, and so it gives a great view of the golf course, and driving up North Country Club Road is a lot different today than it was 6 months ago, so I think that that's a great thing. Inside of the clubhouse has been painted, and new furniture and Corey went crazy. I mean, she just wallpaper, and the place looks great if you've been in there. It looks just fantastic. It's a welcoming environment. It's very clean. Everything's updated. Corey, you know, bless her heart, spent a lot of her off hours doing that work, probably some of her own money. But she went out and procured a number of things, you know, on wholesale sites and the internet, and just got creative, but it really looks fantastic. It's just a world of difference inside the clubhouse. It's a very wonderful atmosphere that she's created there. We have new tee markers. We've purchased new tee signs. We got lucky. One of our sister courses, a city to the north, Neosho, Missouri, had 27 holes of golf, and they knocked it down to 18 about 3 years ago, and they left these beautiful, brand-new hole signs out on the golf course, and they were kind enough to sell those, all 9 of them. They still had all 9 of them for $2,000, and so we're going to go dig those up and bring them back and plant them, put new signs on them to recognize the sponsors and the corporate partners that have been so good to us, and so that'll be a really nice improvement for the golf course as well. The creek restoration project maintenance has been contracted. Travis Cheney reached out to a provider who specializes in this kind of work. They made us an unbelievable deal so that our maintenance crew doesn't have to go in and spray and mitigate problems inside the creek restoration area. That's something that this company has an expertise in. So I think the price is like $11,000 a year, including chemical and labor to go in there and take care of it. And so they were kind enough to give us a special deal, I think, because of the city and because they think it's an important project to protect, which we agree. Travis and some of his folks put up green stakes demarking the restoration area. And so it's a sanctuary area. People can walk in there, certainly. Golfers can go look for golf balls, and people can come if they want to see the restoration area and enjoy the flowers and the nature and the creek, those type of things. But the markers remind golfers not to drive carts in there or go in there for any unwanted reason. So, and that looks fantastic. New landscaping for the front entrance and clubhouse is underway. It's about complete. So the flower bed entrance, the whole place just looks really, really good. It's just a world of difference from where it was before. And so Corey and Travis, I think, worked together on getting the plants, the perennials and annuals and other things that have been planted out there. And so when you get a chance to come by and take a look at it, I think you'll notice it right away. So it looks wonderful. We've been able to get much needed equipment. And so here's a list of the equipment that has been procured. We bought a new top dresser, which we got a great deal on. That's helping us. We top dressing the greens is how we make sure that we get a proper fine amount of sand on the greens so that we can keep the greens smooth, keep the layers up, help with irrigation. So that's made a world of difference in protecting the greens that we've rebuilt. We got our own aerifier. This is very important. So probably most people know what an aerifier is, but it punches holes or pulls core holes out of the greens once a year, and we can also use that and check that out. It's $3,000 to contract it out. And so that's an excellent purchase for us to have that in-house. We can do it on our own timetable, and over the course of the years, it saves us thousands of dollars. We got a new Pro Gator. You can see it pulling that toe behind spreader there. That's a poor picture. It came from a video, but that allows us to put sand out. You know, when you pull cores out or punch holes in your greens, you've got to put sand back in. And so that thing is a wonder machine, and it works very well. We spread sand all over the tee boxes, leveling them out, and that's made a world of difference. So that's been a great thing. A new triplex tee mower. We've got a new 72-inch deck mower that's coming down. We were able to get that from Chillicothe Country Club up in northwest Missouri. I'll be bringing that down on a trailer next week. So the guys are excited about that. That'll help with our mowing, and of course the toe behind spreader, which I mentioned before. So we've got all kinds of great equipment now to take care of the golf course properly. My dad always says that, life's all about having the right tools, and I couldn't agree more with that. So those things help us do a better job. They save on labor, and we're thankful to have them. The operation performance. So, and I transposed a number here. I'll explain it, but On January 1, we had 52 members. When we narrowed it down to who actually pays and who's really committed, we had 52 members on January 1. On June 1, now I transpose those numbers, it's 86 members. Our membership is growing rapidly. Even today, while I was visiting the golf course and visiting Corey, we had a number of interested people. We are getting daily interest, people asking about our membership program. And so I anticipate that number to rise rapidly over the summertime and the golf season, maybe into the point where we have to curtail how many of those that we offer. So I created a budget last year, kind of in the fall, and gave that to Alan in the city. And the budget, when I created it, was kind of if the golf course was in perfect normal operating condition, what do I think we can expect to do? And obviously, with the greens restoration project and the situation with the golf course, we didn't really start the year that way, but I felt enough confidence in the budget and where we were headed to just go ahead and ask the city to adopt it. So our revenue through the first 4 months, so it doesn't include May, which I'll talk about, but was $52,000. Our original budget was $81,000, and we probably would have hit that if we hadn't had the golf course closed for the time we did to do the restoration. Our cost of goods are there, our gross profit line, our expenses. We had some other income from an insurance claim. But the bottom line is, year-to-date in the first trimester here, for the first 4 months, we anticipated losing $26,000, and we've lost $15,000. April revenue budget was $31,000. Excuse me, this should be the May revenue budget. I apologize. The May revenue budget was $31,000, and we hit that in May. And so what that says is that now that the golf course is functioning properly, we are able to generate the kind of revenues. The golf course has been very busy. If you've been by or driven by or played, there's people out there every single day. Even today, a Tuesday, we were busy all day. A number of people coming in, some people coming in for the very first time. I had the privilege of riding around with Corey this morning on the golf course just to see it when I got here. And the first person that stopped us said, "Hey, this golf course is amazing. It used to be and I can't repeat what that person said exactly, but I think you can draw the inference. But he just could not have been more complimentary, he and his son, about the golf course conditions. And so that was a real pleasure. So kind of what's been going on, I just give you, these are Facebook posts. I think Facebook is a great way to kind of figure out what's going on at the golf course. The junior golf, Brian Thomas, our golf professional, is doing an unbelievable job. We have kids clinics, camps, 50, 100 kids that have already committed to coming out and working on the game, learning the game of golf. That's a really cool thing. There's a couple pictures of the current conditions. I chose the fairways here. I've got a picture of the greens, but I chose the fairways here because it's probably been 10 years since those fairways looked like that or longer. They're devoid of any weeds. We've gotten rid of all the broadleaf in them. There was a ton of Bermuda hiding around, and it has filled in. And the striping that you see there is created by the new equipment that we have. And so it looks absolutely beautiful. Memorial Day, Corey held an event for Memorial Day. It was very successful. We raised money for Veterans Ventures, our charitable organization, as well as had a tremendous support from people coming out and playing on Memorial Day, which is cool. Which leads me to one of my favorite pictures I think I've seen all year from any of our properties. What you're looking at on the left is 4 generations of golfers. And that to me is really what we're doing here more than anything else. This family that's come together and sharing some times that'll be remembered by everybody in that group, I think is really special. And we've seen that every day. Families, friends, spouses and couples, business associates coming to the golf course. That's success. I think that if you want to measure our success, that's the best way to measure it right there. We have a new app, so I encourage everyone to download our Gallus app. If you're a golfer, it's a great way to learn about the golf course, make tee times, record your scores, get yardage while you're playing. It does everything. It's a really cool thing. It's a free app. Our people use it. We can then communicate with them. So if we have an open tee times or we have news that the golf course is closed because of weather, whatnot, we can send a push notification to all of our members and patrons, and they've got real-time information about the golf course right in their hands, which is awesome. And a picture of the ribbon cutting. We had a very wonderful ribbon cutting. Thank you, Arthur, still here, and for the chamber for doing that. I don't know if you saw it, but the mayor drove one right down the middle of the fairway. That was an amazing thing. That couldn't have been more perfect. I caught Mayor Nation on the way in, and I said, "Are you a golfer?" And she said, with deer and, in the headlight eyes, "No." And I said, "Well, let me give you a couple tips." And she started whacking it right away. And I said, "Okay, I think we're good." And turned out we were good. So she did a wonderful job there. So that's really all I have to report. Happy to answer some questions. I'm going to allow Corey to come up. Questions about what's happening day to day, I think Corey can probably answer those better than we can. Again, I would encourage anybody that hears this to go see the golf course. If you want to know what the golf course is doing, how it's doing, that can best be seen with your own eyes. But again, I want to thank Corey. I want to thank Josh. I want to thank our staff, Toby. They've done a tremendous job. They have worked tirelessly. They see the golf course like it's a mirror. They see their own reflection in what's happening out there. And I think that that's a mark of not just a great employee, but a great person, somebody that really cares about their work. So we're fortunate to have them. So with that, I'll open it to questions to the board.
Oh, come on. Questions? Anybody?
Hey, Brian, be sure and give our gratitude to the city of Neosho. That's wonderful that they are allowing us to get those, because that's not a cheap thing. So,
No.
and it's amazing you have just the right number. So
It
that's
was
a good deal.
It was a godsend, no pun intended whatsoever. I think it's because the city manager in Neosho, Missouri is a former chief of police. And so I leveraged that fact that,
I'm going to have to pay him or take him to lunch or something.
just $2,000, which is the great news. So, yeah, I will extend that
Yeah.
thanks.
And if I may, just, Brian doesn't brag enough on himself and his crew. They have been a pleasure to work with. Corey, I don't know how she spends time with family because she is out there all the time and has been amazing. I'm a little nervous about budget time coming because she's got a lot of plans. But I also want to thank the board for being open-minded and being supportive in budgeting and believing in the golf course. Without that, we wouldn't be where we're at, to be honest with you, to be able to give funds where just to get us up to date. I played Saturday. And it was amazing compared to what I've played the last couple of years. I quit playing out there because it got so bad. So amazing job, Brian.
I remember when the chamber golf tournament was there and they couldn't play because of how bad it got. So I was impressed with the numbers, Brian. Everything looked really good. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
I do want to say thank you to both of you. It has added a lot of amenity to the city of Siloam Springs and what people can do and extra recreation. So thank you both very much.
Well, Director Smiley, thank you. I don't want to take up any more time really, and not to be overly sentimental, but like I said, I visit a lot of city meetings because it's part of what I do. I think this is a great example of how a city should operate and what they can do and the spirit behind everybody on this board and the staff and the citizens that have supported us. And it's just golf. There are a lot bigger issues facing this city, but I have no doubt that that same spirit is what will continue to move this great city into its brightest future days. And I mean that. I really do. I think it's been incredible.
I just want to echo the thank you too. Thank you for your vision for the Siloam Golf Course, and to Alan and all the staff who have been involved in working on it. And then also to Corey, I can attest that I think she does live at the golf course. And she is one creative person who gets things done. So thank you for your just
here.
everything you've done.
I hired a bunch more people for summer, so I get to go walk more now.
Okay, that's good, good, good.
Just real quick, she gave me a tour of the bathrooms updated because we had to replace the roofs, the beams, the walls. She gave me a tour.
I'm kind of excited about these bathrooms.
The girls' bathroom is amazing. And so I go to the guys' bathroom and I'm like, wow. So I went back out there Saturday. She put a garbage can and a carpet in there. So I appreciate
A
that.
little more for you. I made it a little nicer.
No,
I'm sure the guys will ruin it in no time, but
It's gonna get, I've got more things coming there. Don't worry,
I'm
Ellen.
teasing. Looks great.
Thanks, y'all. Hey, everybody, do seriously, download that app. 'cause
Cory.
That app is amazing. Oh,
Mike,
I
thank you.
think everyone can hear me.
Yeah, but if we don't have you in the mic, we can't record it, and it has to be
Oh,
recorded.
that's a shame.
I know, isn't it?
Hey, everybody, download that Gallus app. It's Gallus, Gallus. And all you have to do is go to your app store on your phone and search Siloam Springs Golf Club. And even if you don't play golf, if you just want to know what's going on, I love this app. I do. This app is amazing. I'm not a techie person, and this thing is awesome. But it will let you know all the things going on at the golf course. And in case you just wanted to take a class, with Brian or something, and by the way, he's amazing, then you know what his hours are and all that. It's all on there. And also, if you wanted to play in a tournament or anything else, or just want to know what's going on, I love this app. Everybody download the app. Plus, we're having a contest, and we really want Siloam Course to win. So just saying. Okay.
This is why we have 86 members. They can't say no.
We have 89. I signed up 3 more by tonight.
Great job.
Thanks, y'all. Thank you all very much. And I'm just saying, it's a good thing we did not have our 3 minutes. That's all I'm saying.
I know, Cory, you are so right, and we appreciate you very much.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
And with that, we will move to our next presentation. Chief Miller, I believe that you have a presentation for service.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Scott Miller, Chief of Police. As many of you know, we tend to recognize our staff members, employees, and their milestones and achievements throughout their careers, and we would like to do that tonight. So I'd ask that Crystal Wright Pruitt join me up here. Real quick, tonight we want to recognize Crystal for 20 years of service with the city and the police department. Crystal has had a very distinguished career with us. She has served in both dispatch and our records divisions, and we couldn't be more proud of her in all that she does. She is very diligent and very detailed in what she does, and she has helped us for 20 years keep the ball rolling and even time to time keep me in my boundaries. So with that said, without getting too long-winded, Siloam Springs Police Department, to all who see these present greetings in honor of 20 years of combined and dedicated service, Crystal Wright Pruitt of the Siloam Springs Police Department is hereby recognized for her continued dedication to the officers of the Siloam Springs Police Department, the city, and the staff of the City of Siloam Springs. Crystal has continually served the citizens, the city, and the department with integrity and selfless service, and her conduct and level of service are keeping with the highest standards of the Siloam Springs Police Department and the city of Siloam Springs. Give under my hand of the Siloam Springs Police Department on this 8th day of June, in our Lord 2024. We would like you to join us in presenting this plaque and certificate to Crystal Wright. So you can say something if you like.
Thank you, everybody. It's definitely been a journey the last 20 years. It's had its ups and it's had its downs, but we've really been a family at the PD. And I've met several of our city board members over the years and just want to really appreciate the opportunity to grow with the city. You guys have a great and pleasant evening.
Crystal, you've seen a lot of changes, haven't you, in 20 years? And you started when you were 5 years old. That's what's amazing.
That would be fantastic.
I know, yeah. Congratulations.
We're recognizing her for her years of service, which we appreciate that so much. But she's not leaving us, is she?
No, ma'am.
Oh,
We're
good.
we're just recognizing her for her 20 years, and I'm sure she will give us much, much more.
We look forward to that. We hope so. Thank you, Crystal.
You might want to, Chief, get with Chris and have him get a good picture because Mark, our newspaper man's not here. So, yeah. Because this needs to be in the newspaper.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Crystal.
And with that, we will move to our consent agenda. Item A, regular meeting minutes, May 21, 2024. Item B, Oklahoma Secretary and Environment Department, Siloam Springs Water Resource Company, property, proposed land sale for $713,655. Item C, purchase, Public Services Department, Sanitation Division, 2023 Western Star roll-off truck from River City Hydraulics for $216,708. Directors, that is the consent agenda. Is there any item that you would like to have pulled for separate consideration?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like letter B.
Item B? Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? If not, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with item B removed.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Carroll.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Hunt. Wiles.
Yes.
Smiley. Blair.
Yes.
Motion is approved. So with that, we will come back to you, Betsy, for item B. Your comments or questions?
I'm not sure whether Mr. McQueen or the attorney, my understanding is there's a conservation easement going on this property. Is that correct? Is it for the entire property or a section, or how does that work?
Madam Mayor, if I might respond.
Yes.
The contract proposes that the conveyance to the purchaser would include a deed restriction for the entire acreage being sold. The deed restriction will require that the land be used for purposes of conservation, education, and wildlife purposes, and will forbid residential or commercial development of the property. So that a deed restriction is in perpetuity. In the event this buyer were to sell or transfer the buyer to some other entity or some other owner, the deed restriction would continue to be in place throughout however many future owners there might be for this property.
Thank you.
Betsy, were you asking if that only applies to a certain section?
Oh,
Because there's
yeah.
4 different sections.
Right, thank
The
you.
whole thing goes with all of it, right? That's what
It's the entire, okay, okay. And I'm not necessarily against the sale of this land. I understand twice we've lost hundreds of acres to adverse possession, and this one's coming close again because the city has not monitored the land. One thing I don't understand about it is the price we're accepting for it is the same price that the squatter, Mr. Langley, paid, or was paid by GRDA 4 years ago. And then 2 years ago, the board discussed it at 3 different meetings in 2022, and GRDA again offered the $2,250 per acre. Everything on the face of the earth has gone up in value in the last 2 to 4 years. And I don't understand why we're paying that price. And I feel like I would be remiss as a steward of the citizens' money, not to ask that. And I've asked it, but I haven't really gotten an answer that makes sense. So that's all.
Yeah, Alan, do you have? No. Directors, any other comments or questions?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David.
Jay, I just wanted to tell you, I appreciate your letter today explaining. I reviewed the entire contract, and I was pleased to see the prohibition of residential and commercial development. But your letter today giving an explanation that under Oklahoma law, it is enforceable in perpetuity is a big sigh of relief for me. And I will end by saying thank you, Secretary McQueen, for everything you've done and for coming tonight and at our last meeting. And we just appreciate, I know it's been work that you've been involved with GRDA to do this, and we appreciate what you've done.
Anyone else? Betsy?
Mayor. And I do thank you for being willing to put the conservation easement or the deed restriction on it. I think that's my main concern. Yeah, so thank you.
The only other question I had, when we got here, there was a separate map. Alan, was this something, is that what we're retaining by
Yes,
chance?
sir. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I should explain that. I talked to a couple board members and missed you, a couple directors. What I did is, I was asked by a director today what we would be holding on to. And if you look at the 64 acres where the arrow is,
Yep.
that's where our water intake is, and it wraps around up to the 53 acres where our water pipes run, which we have to maintain. So I just wanted you to see what we would still be owning. And
It's all
that's all to
contiguous,
do with
so
our
it-
water intake.
It's not pieces, it's all together, so that's good.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes, Carol.
I'm glad to see this because I know that we have lost some of the land, and this will protect everything. And I think this is a good move for the city of Siloam. Thank you.
Betsy?
Let's just, oh, did you, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
We're cutting out. It's-
Hello? Okay.
Yeah.
I know that Alan and I discussed this, but for public record, since we have lost land twice and are working on a third time, we're still going to own 117 acres out there. Can you tell us exactly what will be done so that we don't lose due to adverse possession again?
Be happy to. We can, if Chris, you want to jump in there too. What we plan on doing is we're in the process of making no trespassing signs. This will be a smaller piece of property that we'll be able to monitor a little bit better. The problem with this property, it's so much on cliffs. It's almost dangerous to walk in there, but we will do our best to monitor and make sure that we're doing checks to make sure that we're not in the situation for people squatting on that property.
And my understanding is our current attorney said that if somebody does start squatting again, that is it if we give them permission temporarily or there's something that can be done if this starts to happen again?
We can, yes, we have various options, including giving someone permission to use a portion of the land for a period of time, or else we can simply no trespass them and ask the authorities to remove them if they're trespassing on the property.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Since the price was brought up, just for public record, again, just some clarification, I'm thinking there probably is a difference between the type of land that we're selling and the type of land that was sold to another buyer 4 years ago. And just so the public is aware of that may explain why the price isn't higher.
I went back and looked at the minutes and the sale that was done in 2020 to Mr. Langley when we lost it to adverse possession, and GRDA at that time purchased that land for $22.50. And then in September 19th of 22, they came back and sent another letter of $22.50, or upping that 1105 to 2250 at that time, and I don't think it ever went to the board for a vote. And the reason for the difference in price that I found is the land that was purchased by Mr. Langley is more residential that could possibly built on. It's probably the best piece of land of anything that was in there. And then ours is more wetlands, and gave us the same price, even though it's wetlands, is the same they bought for residential. Am I pretty correct to your memory, Mr. Secretary?
Okay.
Betsy. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Andy.
I just wanted to thank you for confirming that and for all the work you've done. And I think this is a good decision for the city as well, for the reasons that have been presented. But I just wanted to, since we were talking about it publicly, I just want to make sure we got that on record.
Right, and that applies to the Langley property, but the price that was offered 2 years ago was for the same land that we're selling it for today. So,
Right, and I think the difference is I'm hearing that the
It's-
land is different type of land.
no, it's the same land. The money that we were off, the board, I wasn't on it, that the board was offered 2 years ago, it's the same land they're buying, they want to buy now. It is
But it was offered by the GRDA instead of the state of Oklahoma.
Right. It was in 2022, there were 3 board meetings, April, July, and September. And the first meeting in April, they offered $11.50 or something.
It was 1105 or something,
1105,
if I
yeah,
remember right.
transposed.
It's same parcels of property,
But
this one.
this is the exact same land that they offered $2,250 for in 2022. It's the same parcel of land that we're talking about now that y'all talked about at your board meetings in 2022. The 2020, when GRDA bought the land from Mr. Langley, that was different. That was residential. But we're talking about the same piece of land in 2024 that you all talked about in 2022.
I did not recall, I recalled a price that was about half as much as what they're offering now that we discussed.
That was the meeting in April, but there were 2 more meetings. There was one July 5th and then September 19th or something like that.
Right.
It was the last meeting in September, and that's when GRDA came back with $2,250 for the land. And then 2 years later, they came back with the same price. And so that's where I'm like, that seems off.
Talking to Mr. Secretary, that was during transition time also. I think Mr. McQueen was just coming in as the outgoing, Secretary of Energy was outgoing.
Anyone else? Yes, David.
Secretary McQueen, the squatter is now your problem. And people use the term squatter, and it's been in the news a lot lately where people are living in other people's homes and they call them squatters. I don't want the public to get confused. This has been an occurrence that's happened before. The first time we were kind of unawares. The second time, the gentleman laid claim to it and filed a lawsuit and essentially got hundreds of taxpayer-owned land for free by simply claiming he had been using it. It should not have happened in that it had happened before the first time. And our city staff, our city leadership at the time should have prevented that and did not. And this has been an ongoing problem for some time. To find out now that all we had to do was put up no trespassing signs and say, we know you're here, we're giving you permission, but when we wish to have you leave, we will tell you. That's all that had to be done the entire time, and that's frustrating to know that we did not have to lose this land in the previous 2 occurrences. So I'm glad the problem is no longer going to be our problem.
Thank you, David. So if I have no other comments or questions, I will ask for a motion to approve the sale by the Siloam Springs Water Resource Company to the Oklahoma Secretary of Environment Department for $713,655.
So moved?
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Smiley? Yes. Wiles?
Yes.
Carroll? Allen,
Yes.
Hunt, Blair.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Mr. McQueen. We appreciate you being here and all the work you've put into this.
If I may, Madam
Yes,
Mayor, I just want to
absolutely.
thank Secretary. He has been a pleasure to work with. I mean, just a very honorable man. It's been my privilege to work with you the past few months, and just wealth of information. And
Items, which is contracts and approvals next. We have a contract with Public Services Department for the Sanitation Division, Waste Management of Arkansas. And I believe, Jason, you are going to give us some information on that?
Yes, ma'am. Jason Davis, Public Service Director, City of Siloam. So this is a standard contract with Waste Management. I negotiated the best I could and felt like I got the best rate for the city. So that's what's before you, and I feel really good about it. So I'm here for any questions or comments.
Madam Mayor. I just noticed the next item, we have a dollar figure. Should we have a dollar figure on this one, Jason?
It's
It's
a
a 5-year
$3
contract,
increase.
so, say what?
It's a $3 increase.
Well, I didn't know, there's no way to really tell a total dollar. It's just an open-ended
$36.
5-year contract that will go up each year by
It's
CPI.
5-year, and then after that, we'll
Okay.
renegotiate.
I wanted to make sure there wasn't some dollar amount that had been left off. Thank you.
No, sir.
Director Allen, too, just where you know with this, with the old price was, I think it was $33.03, and we're going up 36. With the tonnage of garbage that we're having right now, we're probably looking, we did the numbers, just the best guess we can do is probably an increase of $150,000. But also I'll be bringing, because this also changes sludge. Jason, do you remember what we were paying for sludge before? Steve's not here tonight.
33.
33. So we're paying 33. It's my understanding we're going up to 46 there. Wow. So I'll be bringing that contract, and that's really no negotiations there. That's
Well,
Brian, or
Well, that's part of it. This contract's part of that as well. That's in there, so.
And I also saw in the memo from Jason that the construction trash or whatever is a separate,
C&D. Yes.
it actually, we're going to save money on that part.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, thank you, Jason.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address this contract? If not, directors, I would ask for a motion to approve the contract with for Waste Management of Arkansas.
So moved?
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Smiley. Blair,
Yes.
Wiles. Allen.
Motion is approved. Next is contract. Finance software for BSNA for $318,685. Christina.
Christina Patrichas, Finance Director. Mayor, members of the board. This year, we looked at replacing our current software. We were having, we're having some different issues with our software, but two of the big things that we're having is our HR department is still using paper. And with the number of employees more than doubling since we received our last software, it's very difficult for them to do everything they need to do in a timely manner. In addition to that, the last go-round, we looked at HR software, but we also looked at community development software, and community development was unable to use what we're using, so now they're using a third party, and they're kind of outgrowing that. So we put this out for bid, hoping to find one software that we could integrate everything. We got the department that we currently have, so we dismissed that one. The next one had everything we need in accounting and what community development needs, but it didn't really have a good HR system. And then the last one had every bell and whistle you could think of, but it was over $500,000 more just to implement. So what staff is bringing forward and recommending is that we go with the one that will function very well for the accounting department and for the community department, but will outsource the payroll and HR functions to a third party. And that is what we were, if you have any questions about what was on the bid tab, that was just kind of to show you the savings of using ADP with the BSNA as compared to using the very expensive software. So do you have any other questions?
Thank you, Christina. Directors, Mindy?
Yes, I have a question. So is it HR's preference to outsource? Because I know Director Rissler is one who's talked a lot about wanting to have more software updates for HR in particular. So is it their preference to outsource?
When I say outsource, it's outsourcing the software. They still have to do all of their functions in-house. But it just makes it easier for employees to log in and do that. Now, could we do that with the $1 million software? Yes, we could do all of that.
Well, but I thought, okay, so this paragraph, the second highest bid was BSNA at $387, which would support both finance and community with minimal increase in functionality for HR. Okay, so the full package really doesn't help HR as much as we had thought. So that's why,
Well, what I'm saying is for BSNA, it didn't help HR as much as HR felt like
okay.
it didn't give them all the functionality that they felt that they needed.
Okay, so there just wasn't, I thought I had read if we paid a little bit more, they would get the functionality,
Yes.
but.
No, they do want to get the additional functionality, but we as staff sat down and thought it's not worth the extra $500,000 for the implementation to get everything that's already integrated. We can get it much cheaper if we just outsource that HR piece, and that would be the only piece that's outsourced. It's HR and payroll combined.
No, and I understand the bigger price was just not
But
going to
they're
be an
getting everything
option
they want with ADP. If we use the BSNA and we outsource to ADP,
is who would outsource to, okay.
yes, then they're getting everything that they are looking to get.
They're wanting a lot of bells and whistles.
Yes.
It's gonna be so far ahead of what we have now, and with us
Yes,
outsourcing,
significantly.
I think it was $60,000.
Yes.
We will get everything they need, and it's a lot
But
cheaper.
it won't necessarily integrate with the other system?
Basically, it's not already integrated with the other systems. So we would have to export a report and then import it into the accounting software. And that's what we would have to do to integrate it.
Christine, it was my understanding too, if I got the right one, wouldn't BSA the one that is working on the other software that we need, but it may not be out for a year or two?
I think that was, I think that had to do with community development. They wanted integration with, what was it, Bluebeam? So, but they're in process of getting that.
My main concern is just that you're getting what you need.
I believe
And that
that, I mean, we
HR, that
all.
all three
Yes,
departments
all
are
three of
getting
us
what
feel
you
like
need.
we're getting what we need. And honestly, the one that was the most expensive, that was completely integrated, some of our staff members were like, this is great for finance, but are the admins and the departments going to be able to use this? Because it's very
What user-friendly.
We didn't
complex.
want to, and my hat's off to Christina and staff and Misty and everybody. Chris was involved, because they could have shot the moon. We had $1 million budget for this, but they found something that's going to be very functional, that's affordable. It's going to do everything that we need into the future. And so again, everyone involved was in a meeting, and they said, yes, we want this. So it wasn't, hey, I'm out, and the other two overvoted. All three of them said, this is the one we want.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David.
I asked Christina a question today in an email, just when was the last time that we purchased software like this? And I was surprised. Christina said community development and HR software was purchased when we implemented the current accounting system in 2015. So we've gotten an awful lot for 9 years. I told her before, when I came in, I said, I think we squeezed enough out of that 9 years out of that software. So I'm really surprised it's not been 4 or 5 years ago. So, but she explained what each of the departments does with this. And I thought it was impressive in your report to state that even though it might have provided everything, bells and whistles, the staff was not that impressed with the ease of use. And, you know, I can tell you, I've seen software that has everything, but if nobody wants to use it, it's a waste of money. Yeah, so it has to be easy for people to be able to use it and not feel like they're being punished for using the software. So thank you, Christina, for all your time put in this. And here you said we just, what is the beeping? Hello? Said we spent just over $250,000 for the Cassell software in 2015. So I think we did a good job lasting as long as we did with that.
Madam Mayor, is there any training involved?
Oh, yes,
And that's all included in the
That's all
price?
included in the price. They're going to come here and train us, and then they'll also do some online training as we, as people move in and out of positions.
Madam Mayor?
Anyone? Yes, Betsy.
I asked for this a while back, and Alan and I talked about it yesterday, and he said he'd look into it, but you might know. One of the things I would really like to see as far as software goes is a transcription program for our meetings that then goes into a PDF. I mean, we can all go look up all the meeting notes, but there's no way to search them. And when you have 170 pages of notes, it's a lot to search. Is there anything like that in this software program? Do you have any idea?
Well, it wouldn't be in this software program, but that doesn't
Okay.
mean that that's not something that the IT committee couldn't put together as a potential software to look for.
Okay. I was thinking it might make Janae's job easier, and it would make research a whole lot easier than watching every board meeting and all of that.
And we had a conversation, Christina's schedule was booked today and so was mine, so we haven't had a chance to sit down and talk about it. But IT does have a program, but I don't know if the directors would be able to use it just with the way the software's set up, so I'm gonna look for something. And what Director Finn is looking at is, if you're searching minutes, you'd be able to put a word Oklahoma land sale, and it would search all the minutes that would come up. So I'm gonna try to find software. And of course, talk to Christina to see if IT can look into something. Also, like a doctor transcribes to be able, so we're going to look into that in our conversation, see what's out there.
Thank you, Christina. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address this contract? If not, directors, I will come back to you, ask if I have a motion to approve the software contract with BSNA for $318,685.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Blair? Wiles?
Yes.
Allen? Carroll?
Yes.
Hunt? Smiley?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Christina. Next, we will move on. I can turn my page. To our ordinances, ordinance 24-12, third reading, amending section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, rezoning from AI to PD, the 3500 block of East Kenwood Street. Chris, are you the presenter?
I am. This is on a third reading, and there has been no changes from the original ordinance, and staff stands for any additional questions.
Thank you, sir. Directors? If not, is there anyone in the audience that has comments or questions on this ordinance? There being none, I would ask for a motion to place ordinance 2412 on its third reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Smiley? Smiley?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Hunt? Carroll?
Yes.
Allen? Wiles?
Yes.
Blair?
Motion is approved. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-12, an ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, city zoning map, rezoning from A1 to P-D, property located at 3500 block of East Kenwood Street.
Thank you. Directors, do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 24-12?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Blair. Smiley.
Yes.
Wiles. Hunt.
Yes.
Allen. Carroll.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 24-12 is adopted. Next is ordinance 24-13, third reading, amending section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, rezoning from AI or A1 to R2, 3500 block of East Kenwood Street. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the other side of that property. This was, the first one that you heard was the A1 to PD. This is the one that's A1 to R2. There has been no additional changes to this since the first reading. Staff stands for any additional questions.
Thank you. Directors? There is none. Anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-13? There being none, directors, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-13 on its third and final reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Wiles. Smiley.
Yes.
Blair.
Motion is approved.
Ordinance number 24-13, an ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, city zoning map, rezoning from A1 to R2, property located at the 3500 block of East Kenwood Street.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 24-13?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Blair. Wiles.
Yes.
Allen. Carroll.
Yes.
Hunt. Smiley.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 24-13 is adopted. Next is ordinance 24-14, second reading, vacation of right-of-way for the 500 block of South College Street. Kevin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Kevin Moore, City Engineer. This is the second reading for a vacation of right-of-way at 500 block South College Street, and this is where College turns north into Granite. Staff has not received any further questions from the public, and we still recommend approval and are available for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Directors, questions or comments? There being none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-14? There is none. So, directors, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-14 on its second reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Allen. Wiles.
Yes.
Smiley. Hunt.
Yes.
Carroll.
Motion is approved. Allen?
Ordinance number 24-14, an ordinance vacating and abandoning the right-of-way at the 500 block of South College Street.
Thank you. Next is ordinance 24-16, first reading, amending section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, rezoning from A1 to C2, 3990 Highway 412 East. Looks like Megan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Hold on, I'm gonna get to that slide. I think these slides are out of order. Okay, Megan Thomas, Planner 1. This is a rezoning request for property located at 3990 Highway 412 West. The applicant is requesting to rezone 3.387 acres from A1 agriculture to C2 roadway commercial in order to bring the property into compliance. This is the survey of the property. This property has operated and functioned as a commercial property for more than 20 years. Some of you might recall this is the old RJ Tractor property. They also do the freeze fireworks each year at this property. So this rezoning was triggered by the applicant's intent to add to that commercial use at the property by adding an additional commercial business to the site, making it 2 businesses on that one site. So this is them trying to bring that property into compliance. The future land use calls for regional commercial for the property, therefore the proposed zoning is in line with the future land use map. And this is the overall site view of the property. Again, you can see that existing commercial use happening there. So staff is recommending approval with no needed conditions, and staff is available for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Directors, comments or questions? There being none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-16? There is none. Directors, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-16 on its first reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only?
So moved?
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Smiley.
Motion is approved.
Ordinance number 24-16, ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, city zoning map, rezoning from A1 to C2, property located at 3990 Highway 412 East.
Thank you. Next is ordinance 24-17, first reading, clerk retirement, Renee Ellis. Alan?
Christine will be presenting, I'm sorry.
All right, Christina?
Christina Patrichis, Finance Director. The ordinance before you this evening is related to Renee's retirement. She will have met the criteria for retirement benefits under state law. Part of that is for the board to determine whether or not they would like to provide her a COLA raise of 3% whenever, or should say up to 3%, whenever employees also receive that same raise. So that is what is before you this evening.
Thank you, Christina. Directors, comments or questions? There being none, Alan, did you have anything you would like to say?
Or depending how you vote on this, since this is very out in the ordinary, I know the board doesn't like doing this, but since it's an internal, it's an internal policy that or ordinance that we're trying to get done, I'd like to do all 3 readings if possible. Again, retirement's coming up at the end of June, 1st of July, so if that's possible, if you do not want to do that, I would like to at least combine the second and third.
Thank you, sir. So I will ask first if there's anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-17. There is not. Directors, I will come back to you and ask, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-17 on all 3 readings, suspending the rules and reading by title only? If I do not, I would ask for a motion to place this on its first reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Carroll.
Yes.
Allen. Yes. Hunt.
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes.
Blair.
Abstain.
Motion is approved. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-17, ordinance approving retirement benefits for city clerk.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to our resolutions. Resolution 26-24, Special Use Development Permit, Age-Restricted Business, 202 Highway 412 West, Suite A. Megan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, just one second while I get to that one. Sorry, these got all out of order. Okay. This is a special use request for property located at 202 Highway 412 West, Suite A. You may recall this property was previously the Eureka Springs property right next to the police department. Eureka Springs, I said that last time too. Eureka Pizza property right next to the police department. The applicant is requesting to allow greater than 50% age-restricted sales within a C2 zoning district. This is a tobacco store, and that's the reasoning for this request. This is the applicant's letter of intent. Again, they're proposing greater than 50% age-restricted sales, as this will be a commercial retail smoke shop. This is what triggered that special use requirement. However, the business will operate in the same manner as any other commercial retail business would. And this is the property. I put a little star there so you can see which suite that will be in. Staff is recommending approval with no needed conditions, and staff is available for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Directors, comments or questions? Yes, David? They're working off and on, you're right. Yes, David.
I have a question on this one and the next one. It's age-restricted businesses. Do these businesses not fall within the minimal distance requirement for being near schools or churches? As I know was passed many years ago on tattoo parlors and other things. Can anybody answer that?
The distance requirement applies to our alcohol beverages code, which is chapter 6 of our code, and does not apply to age-restricted businesses. So that distance requirement is 200 feet from a school or church when they serve alcohol or anything like that.
Well, what I'm referring to was passed in the 90s regarding tattoo parlors and something else that was long before alcohol was passed in this county. And there was something else besides tattoo parlors that this board regulated could only be within so many feet of a school or a church. And I don't know if it was smoke shops or what, but I am requesting that we dig out that ordinance that was passed because there are definitely some things that have been built near schools and churches that, like tattoo parlors. And I question if there's not other things that we have not been following the ordinance from the 90s that regulated that distance. And then lastly, I just say, I'm frustrated that on the same night, we're okaying 2 special use permits for the same business, smoke shops. It's just not something I think that greatly lends itself to our community.
Thank you, David. Anyone else? Anyone in the audience that would like to comment on this resolution? There being none, yes, Reed.
Madam Mayor, Chris, if I could put you on the spot here, could you give us some revelation on this, please?
Okay, so, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
There was some confusion as to, whenever our staff received actually 4 of these recently. And there was some confusion on the ordinance, which led to us taking a closer look and actually adjusting policy to ensure that we're treating these according to how the ordinance is written. We do have a new policy, which is Community Development Policy 112 that was just signed in to assist staff in making determinations on when a special use development permit is required. I would point out that according to our ordinance, an age-restricted business pertains to the sale of the paraphernalia that's within a smoke shop and the paraphernalia that would be located within a vape shop. That would be your vape pens, the glass, stuff like that. Age-restricted business at this time in our code exempts alcohol and tobacco use. Those can be located in other areas that are not pertaining to that specific paraphernalia use, and we are looking at that to bring potential future amendments forward. However, the policy that was written was designed in order to assist my staff with determining when a special use permit would be required. So as of right now, a special use permit is required to align with the code as currently written whenever you have over 50% of the sales at that location are age restricted to exclude the sale of alcohol and the sale of tobacco products, which we interpret to also include vape juice from that consideration. So what are we actually talking about? If they're selling the glass products, the little glass pipes, anything that you would have to be 18 or older to purchase that does not include tobacco, which would fall, the vape juice would fall into that category, or alcohol sales. It also includes the tattoo shops. There's some other considerations that are associated with that, but in regards to this conversation, if the policy requires that the applicant has to provide sales data to determine what that 50% is. So they have to provide us with sales data that shows that they're less than 50% of those paraphernalia sales in their overall sales, or else they have to have a special use permit. That's why you've seen these two. I think we may have had another one that went through that did not require to get a special use permit recently. And I'm more than happy to provide a copy of the policy, the updated policy to each of the board members that kind of gives a more detailed description of each one of those. But it aligns with the way our code's written. We had that, we worked with legal on that. We worked with the chief of police on that also.
Thank you, Chris. So David?
Chris, did you just say you've had 4 of these applications recently for a smoke shop?
For vape shops, I believe it was 4 total. Megan can talk a little bit more on that.
I had 4 individuals, different businesses, reach out to me about smoke shops. One was permitted by mistake, and that's when we came across this need for the policy. The second did not come back after they learned that they had to get approval through the board of directors in order to have that business in a C2 zoning district. And then the final 2 are before you tonight.
Well, I, for one, would appreciate seeing the policy that has been developed and the ordinance that apply, that you took the policy for. And mainly because I've learned in the last year that there's been some policies determined that, and it wasn't just in the last year, it's the last year we as a board have learned that some things that had been touted over the last 10 years as state law were not, they were simply city policy. And so I think when city policy is developed by anyone in staff in relation to the ordinance, when it's made or when it's changed, this board needs to be apprised of it. We have people ask us, I know they ask you guys, as you were just saying, Megan, they've inquired with you. They also inquire to us, hey, you know, I've heard somebody or my family's, it would be good if we knew what the policy was as well. So yeah, that would be very welcome. Thank you, Chris.
And he is keeping up with the mic shortages and the times, and we'll get on that tomorrow. We apologize for that. But one of the things, if someone opens a boutique or any other shop, we're trying to make sure they're selling what they're supposed to be selling, and they're not selling paraphernalia to the children and the permit, because we're starting to see a lot of these vape shops come in, and just trying to have a policy and an ordinance to make sure we can regulate it.
We and Judy may remember this, I think you, or Carol, you may, there were billboards in Oklahoma that said, want a tattoo, go to Siloam Springs, because Oklahoma had outlawed tattoo. Now, this was in the 90s, but all of a sudden we had tattoo parlors showing up just everywhere, all over Siloam. And it was really making the city look like, is this all we're about? For tourists to drive through and see all these, you know. So there was a policy or an ordinance passed that dealt with that, and it also would relate to a tattoo parlor going out of business or a new one coming in would have to abide by that distance regulation. And I have been concerned in the last few years that we have not been abiding by that ordinance, because I've seen tattoo parlors show up that are very close to schools, very close to churches, and I know that was specifically what the ordinance relayed. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Betsy.
I was a little slow on the uptake what a smoke shop is. I get it now. And the age restriction. So are you saying, Chris, that they are saying that more than half of what they sell is going to be the paraphernalia stuff?
So if either half of the sales are paraphernalia related or age restricted items other than tobacco or alcohol, or if they cannot demonstrate that less than half of those sales would be relative to that, then they would have to have a special use permit. It's their obligation to demonstrate to staff that those amounts are less than 50%.
So with this one, since they're asking for a special use, they're saying over half is going to be those things? Is that, am I understanding that?
That is my understanding, correct.
Okay. Were you, okay.
I think that's confusing too. Yeah, the letter we got from the gentleman that he highlighted the paragraph. It's important to note the space will continue to serve as commercial retail. The special use app is necessary solely because over 50% of our sales are restricted to adults over the age of 21, which makes me question, does that mean if they were under 50%, you could sell them to people under 21? It's almost, now, this is him writing, this is not, but I assume he based it upon what he understood was the law. So it is confusing.
And is there a limit on how many of these type businesses we can have in Siloam?
It's my understanding that there's not a limit. There is use unit 22, which is age-restricted businesses, which defines that businesses providing a greater than 50% of their total sales of goods or services to customers whose age is restricted by federal, state, or city law, and including any business providing tattoos, piercings, body art, or other body modifications such as subdermal implants not performed by licensed medical professionals, but excluding the sale of alcoholic beverages as defined in Chapter 6 of this code for off-premises or on-premises consumption, and excluding the sale of tobacco. So that's the only location. As far as the tattoo, we did a search in our municipal code. That's the only location within the code that it talks about the tattoos that one of the directors was asking about. As far as restricting, there are implications in restricting a business use, and I would deflect those type of questions to legal. If you restrict a use for one individual and provide that same use to another individual, there can be legal consequences in that would probably need to be answered by our legal department. However, at this time, I don't think that exists within our code. However, this is a special use development permit, and I believe that with a special use development permit, the board has the authority to approve or deny permits, but I would caution the board on stating the purpose as to why. I think that it would need to be demonstrated as to why, and I would probably deflect to our city attorney, Jay Williams, to elaborate on that.
I don't think we could unless we have a certain number that it can't go over the way we've done the Airbnbs. I mean, that's the only thing I know that we've discussed, that there's a limited type of business.
Yes, Reed.
Madam Mayor, thank you. Chris, how do we work as a city with the state of Arkansas? Do we derive what we're trying to accomplish? Do we take our lead from what the state tells us we cannot do, or are we kind of our own separate, or how do we correlate with what the state laws are?
Are you specifically talking about this type of use?
Yes, on what we can and can't do, and distance and what have you.
I think each individual municipality can craft their own ordinance as to how they treat these type of businesses. You can't completely exclude that because it would be considered exclusionary zoning. You do have to have some sort of ability for them to exist within the city. However, in this case, it's a special use permit. Other cities refer to those as conditional use permits. We call those special use permits. Within a special use permit, it gives a little bit more authority to the board to make a determination whether or not it's allowed within that. They have to have that permit before they can do the use. if this was allowed by right, which in some cases our code does allow it by right because it does not define certain types of these businesses as age restricted, then they wouldn't necessarily need to come to the board because they would be permitted by right in specific zoning as long as that age restriction isn't there.
And with what you have done recently, you feel like this helps us to define what can and cannot be done, and we have a little more control on this?
I think the staff policy was just intended to clarify the ordinance as written. Policy from staff can't be legislative in nature. It has to work off of existing ordinance. So we tried to take the existing ordinance and make it simpler for the staff to understand whenever they receive these. That way we don't have any falling through the cracks that don't meet the specific requirements of the city's ordinance.
This will allow us to continue monitoring as well.
That is correct. It'll continue, it'll have a little bit better defined process in how whenever we receive an application for this type of business, it'll allow this staff and future staff to look at the policy and state, okay, now that I've received this application, what's my next step?
Thank you.
Mayor? Chris, a moment ago, we heard that one had been approved as a mistake before you realized you needed to do that. Is there not going to be a problem with that one going through, but these two, we have to have a special use permit? Does the other one not have to come back and get a special use permit?
I believe we have been instructed to contact them if there's an administrative issue. The code still is applicable, so we would be reaching out to them and see if they can go forward, and we would try to manage that, respectful of the fact that they may have a business that's already in operation. But we would take a look and we'll be taking a look at that and determining how to bring them into compliance.
If I'm remembering special use applications, if the business that has applied and gotten this, with the approval of the resolution tonight, if they were to close, they cannot just sell their business and the application to another company, right? The new company would have to come get a new special use application.
I believe that the permit is issued to the applicant, so if they were to close their doors, then they would have to.
The new company would have to come get a new one. We talked about it years ago, and I thought that that's what part of the SB, the special use was.
And likely the only exception to that would be is if an entity purchased that, for example, they went in and purchased the rights to that specific business. If that application was done under that business's name and that business remains operable with new ownership, then they would likely fall under that application or that permit.
I think we had stated that, I believe that when we first started doing special use applications was that it may be for the business, but the business has an owner, and the owner, if there is an ownership change, it has to have a new special use. But you might check that. That's just something for future, since these are now coming into requirement.
Madam Mayor, are you saying that we already have one age-related business? Or not? Have we already
I would
approved one?
assume we have more than one age-related
We
business.
have.
We have multiple that have been approved over the years. So we have Omi's, there's an existing Vapor Maven. The one that was mistakenly approved is, I think, on East Highway 412. If you go down that way, going towards Tawny Town almost, it's on the right-hand side of the road in a strip center. Mhm.
Thank you.
And board, just where you know, it's just when we make a mistake as a staff, we own it, and now we just try to go forward and fix it and not make that mistake again. So I compliment, staff for saying, hey, we missed this one, and we're going to try to get it right.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Betsy.
So who holds the business owner accountable so that we know minors aren't being sold any of this stuff?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Jay.
Typically, the state of Arkansas regulates those specific age requirements. State of Arkansas regularly operates sting operations for those smoke shops, but also convenience stores and places like that. And they will ask the minors to attempt to purchase tobacco products, for example, and then they will cite the business if those sales take place to a minor.
Thank you.
That's something they usually coordinate with the police department. I've done in the past, and Chief shaking his head yes.
Directors, other comments or questions? If not, well, we've actually passed public input time, unless one of the directors would like to ask for someone from the audience to come forward. I'm sorry? Yeah, I did.
Madam Mayor?
Oh.
If we have some more comments from the public, I would like to hear
Yeah,
them,
there's
if
somebody
that's
who,
possible.
I agree.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Board. Arthur Holbert, I think y'all know my address. I can give it again. 20705 Highway 16, Salem Springs. Study up on this a little bit. As I understand, a special use is asking you to make an exception for the already allowed use. So I would ask you, why would you make an exception for the already allowed use for this? So I would encourage you to vote no.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Madam Mayor, I apologize. I was just a little slow and we went by a little quick for the public input.
That's fine.
I know my wife
Just-
and I represent quite a few different, my name is Kent Wyatt and I live at 1109 East Jewel Street. We do represent quite a few different people that we communicate with about these meetings that aren't able to attend. And I don't know of any of them probably that would not oppose this, and definitely encourage you and the staff to find ways to limit this type of activity. We can say age restricted all day long, but I know from working those same kind of things the chief's talking about, that those things happen all the time, and the more we bring into the city of this type of environment, the more it endangers our kids. And it will filter down, it will trickle down to them, it really will. And we see it happen all the time. And when you bring this in, the more you bring it in, that's what happens, and that's who is endangered. And I just really encourage people to get their heart around that part of it and find whatever they have to do after that to make it not come to the city of Siloams any more than we absolutely have to. And when our hearts are in the right places to do that, then we'll start facilitating things in the right direction, the way we really should be, to protecting our kids. And I really appreciate you guys having the input and the talking about this and not just letting it slip by. And I appreciate the staff for owning a mistake and for saying, hey, we're trying better after that. But I really think it will come down to that, getting the fact that these kids are the ones that are being endangered by this stuff. Think in that realm, and then we'll start maybe trying to find ways where we can work with this so that it doesn't have to come here. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Just state your name and address for us, please.
Hi, my name's Justin Murders. I'm at 20640 Lakeshore Drive in Springdale, Arkansas. And I'm actually here on behalf of the company asking for this special permit. I just wanted to say we ID every one of our customers that come through the door before we make a sell to them. We do our best not to let anybody under their ages walk out with anything they shouldn't have. We have 209 stores across the nation, but we're local. We're here in Taneytown as our warehouse. That's where most of our standard warehouse employees and that sort of thing are. Of course, we've still got to employ the other stores, so there's employees all over. But we're actually have another location here in your town already. We've recently taken over another Eureka Pizza in the Springdale area, and it's doing phenomenal business. I bring that up because a lot of times you see with these smoke stops, people will move in, they'll open one up, and then it'll get shut down 3-6 months later. And I just want to reassure you that's not going to be us, and I don't know that we could have a better deterrent for a location than next door to a police station to keep people who aren't supposed to be in there out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David.
I think Arthur Holbert had a very good point as to if this is already a regulated business, why are we voting to give a special use application that voids that requirement that's in the required law already? Because we've all, not all, but some of us have stated that what age-related business and over 50% and all this is so confusing. I believe this board needs to review the ordinance. We need to review the policy. And by that, I will make a motion to table this until we have had that chance to do so. I'm not going to name a date.
Okay. So until review of current ordinance and
Policy.
policy, okay. So I have a motion to table until the directors have an opportunity to review the ordinance and the policy.
I just think it's too important, and I wouldn't have thought that until Arthur stated, you already have something on the books, so why is there a special use application requirement to go around what was passed a long time ago?
So do I have a second to that motion? Oh, yes, Jay. Yes.
When the board takes action, either voting for something or against something, there is often an avenue for relief from that action or inaction. When a matter is tabled, typically it's tabled to the next meeting. An indefinite table could go on for months or years, and I don't think that's what's intended. So I would ask Director Allen if he's willing to amend his motion to provide that the matter is tabled to until the next regular meeting.
Sure.
So then, just so everyone understands, the motion is to table until our next regularly scheduled board meeting.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Ken.
I will second that, but I just
Okay.
wanted to say, I was thinking the exact same thing, and I appreciate David bringing that up. Trying to listen to what's been said, just a lot of questions now. So I appreciate that and give my second to that motion.
So I have a motion and a second to table until the next regularly scheduled board meeting. Roll call.
Smiley.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Wiles. Hunt.
Yes.
Blair.
Motion to table is approved. Next is Resolution 2724, which is basically the same request for the special use permit. So I would ask directors, do you have a motion to table?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have the same motion to table until the next board meeting for the same review. With that being said, roll call.
Blair.
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hunt. Smiley.
Yes.
Motion to table is approved. So next, we will move to our staff reports, which will be our April financials and the administrator's report. Alan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate that. As usual, April financials are in your packet. If you have any questions for that, please feel free to reach out to Ms. Christina with those questions. I have no expenditures to report. Our fourth Friday event of the first Friday event of the season was Fun for All. Despite the threat of rain, more than over 1,000 people joined the festival. Mark your calendar. We're just 1 month away from the 4th of July block party. We're really excited about that. Beginning at 5 p.m. near the rodeo grounds, entertainment will include Southern Rock Band, Maud Crawford, and country artist Clay Page, who's American Idol Top 40. And a new enhanced firework display is also in the works to make it a bigger and better show. And then, don't forget the summer reading program has begun at our public library. Come out every Tuesday at 10 a.m. for a variety of family entertainment. And then I'd also take the moment for Arthur. We have a Benton County group that's been amazing through this these tornadoes and watch I'm on the email and the text threads, and I mean, they're going off all night, all weekend, all day long with these guys just donating, and the city's donating and working together and being a team. And I've watched Arthur and our chamber get donations and make deliveries. And I also, my hat's off to Arthur. He's a good Christian man that had his personal camper and gave it away to some people. He's probably going to kick me for telling people, but he had a trailer that he donated to of some folks that had lost their home to live in, and then some other people in the group found a generator. So it's amazing to watch these men and women come together to help Decatur, and I appreciate Siloam doing that also. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And if you would, Eric, I don't know if you can put that picture up or if I have to walk up there and do it. Well, before I do that, the board should be seeing the alcohol ordinance that you've been waiting on. We had to make sure that we did that in public notice. It will be ready, and that will come out. You should see that ordinance on the next amendment, June 18th. And what that is just an ordinance looking at selling alcohol next to a church or school that we talked about a couple months ago. And then the picture in front of you, it was neat. Kevin brought this up to me today, the history, but June 8th will be the 50th anniversary of the 1974 flood. And we found this photo today, and if we thought we had drainage problems, look back then, the mailbox. Just reading about that, it's in our museum. We had over 7 foot of water downtown. So that will be our 50th anniversary. I'm not sure that's a good anniversary, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Sarah. So with that, we'll move to the director's reports. First, I would like to just echo your thank you to Arthur. I am also on that thread that it's just amazing what people have done for each other. People that didn't have any idea who the people were they were helping, they just wanted to help them. So thank you to our community and to you, and for all of those that have given in so many different ways. And if they couldn't do anything other than just pray for the families, they have done that. So thank you for that as a community. And you had something else you wanted
It's
to
just,
say?
they just have a long road. If you've ever, we've had, I think, a tornado here in 19, but they have total devastation over there and a lot of parts of Rogers. But, keep our prayers for Decatur, and it's just, it's in bad shape. The pictures don't do it justice how bad it is. I don't want to say the word justice, but they're in bad shape over there.
Also, I want to just echo another congratulations to Crystal Wright for her 20 years of service with the city of Siloam Springs. That just shows, I think, that our employees have a heart for serving our community, and we appreciate that from her and her willingness to stay with us that long and continue to serve in a situation where, being a dispatcher and working in the police department is not an easy job. And the fact that she has stuck it out with us for these 20 years, I think that says a lot. So thank you again, Captain Miller or Chief Miller, I'm sorry, for recognizing her. The other is, I have been asked by several people if I am going to run for re-election as mayor. Yes, I am. So that's all I will say about that. And thank you all for these last 4 years that I have been able to serve you. So with that, we will move to the directors. Mindy, we will start with you, and David, we will end with you.
Okay. And I will just echo the thank yous to the chamber and all those others who have worked with those who had such devastation. And just keep getting the word last week, so I'm looking forward to getting more plugged in. And also thank you to Crystal for her 20 years of service. I'm with David. I'm pretty sure she started working at age 5. But we appreciate what she's done for the city. And then I have had a few calls over the last 4-5 years since I started working on the board about speeding issues on North Dogwood between University and Jefferson. That is the hill that goes up toward Jefferson, and people speed both ways. And I'm guilty too sometimes of thinking my car's not going to make it up the hill unless I gun it, and then all of a sudden I'm looking down and I'm going too fast. And I know we've had issues with the tree limbs hiding the speed signs. And the one going north, there are tree limbs kind of hiding that 25 mile per hour speed limit sign. But, you know, we'll do something, we'll put the radar out, or we'll get the signs visible again, and it'll get better, and then it gets worse again. And I got my last call today, just some concerns. So if y'all could just sort of be thinking about, I know when police officers sit in the field just south of my house on the other side of Dogwood, that tends to curb the speeding, at least for a little while. But I don't know about that section. I just know that I've had several calls from people along that way. They're concerned about kids playing. They're concerned about all the kids that walk up and down that street from the middle school, even pulling out of driveways because the cars just go so fast. So
See Chief Nod, he'd be happy to look
I
into
know.
that.
Thank you, Chief Miller. If there's anything, just brainstorm that you can do. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindy. Ken?
I just want to say again to the storm victims that our thoughts and prayers are with you. I know it's going to be a long process to come out of that. I've had friends that are over in that area that have suffered damage, and even within town, did not get power restored until just this weekend. And it's terrible. And no water, no power for over a week. Conditions are not good. And so we just want to remember them and whatever we can do to be aware of whatever we can do to help. I guess the only other thing I want to say, and this goes to the entire staff within the city, but because Jason and Christina were the ones basically presenting today, they are the ones that caused me to think about this. Our staff works very hard at trying to make things work around here. And you can just tell in their discussions, the due diligence that they continually perform. Jason, I know for a fact, is continually looking for ways to save money. You know, the negotiating that he goes through on our behalf to keep rates as low as possible so we do not have to raise rates for our citizens. Looking at equipment and sourcing and resourcing, and again, to try to get the best piece of equipment at the best price. And I'm not just singling them out because I know this is done within the fire department. I know it's done within the police department. I know it's done in every department that we have. I just want to express my appreciation because it is important and it just means a lot and it says a lot to us as board members and to the citizens that the responsibility of stewardship that we have for this town is taken very seriously. And I just want to express my appreciation to everyone who has to go through that and does that for us. And I guess that's all.
Thank you, Ken. Betsy?
I don't like to just repeat what everybody else says, but yeah, keep the tornado people in your prayers, and you do. They'll need stuff this winter. They'll need, I mean, there are people who have lost everything, and it's, I know we're in Arkansas, so we talk about Decatur, but it went through Colcord, destroyed farms. That's where I went and helped, and it's devastating. So thank you, Arthur, and please, I don't know if on a Facebook page or if there's somewhere where you know there are specific things people need. Maybe somebody else has a camper, maybe, you know, whatever it is. Yeah, if you can post, even if it's just off the wall stuff, that if somebody out there has it, that we can help them. Because it was awful. So, but it's good to see everybody coming together. I was helping a farmer who lost a lot, and he kept saying, "I hope God blesses you for helping us." I'm like, in the middle of absolute devastation, and your spouse is lying in the unair-conditioned house, dying of cancer, and the roof is partially gone, and you're asking God to bless me. Yeah. So thank you, Arthur, and everybody out there. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Betsy. Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I apologize to you for questioning your ability to run a meeting. You do very fine, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It was good to see Brian Menace come in tonight and talk about our golf course. Something I didn't speak up after he spoke about it, but I appreciate the golf course, not just for that, but it correlates with so many other areas in our community. So when you hear about 89 people actually join, which is a good number, but it goes far beyond that as far as the reach into our community, and it's good to see that the golf course is there as part of our quality of life. Thank you for seeing that I am here today. My daughter just had twins, and I would rather be somewhere else tonight, but we're going very soon. These twins everybody's healthy, but they're in the NICU, and I cannot hold them yet. So it's good for me not to be too close, because I may break some rules. But we're glad to see them very soon. It's good to see Miss Crystal honored tonight with her 20 years. I've known Crystal for a while, and her mama. I used to work with her mama years ago. So Crystal, it's just amazing that she's even grown up, but that's what happens when you blink. But it's good to see that she's not only put in 20 years, but has done well. Fourth Friday that we had, to me, I thought it was a tremendous success. And I look forward to more of this happening in our community, and how we can just come together. And it was good to see the ages that were there. You were young people, there were the middle-aged and the older people, and I'm fitting into one of those groups way too well, and I'm very comfortable there, but I'm not wanting to say it out loud. But it was good to see Grady and his parents were here. That was a good thing to see, and those who have been in this community for years, decades, you know how meaningful that was to see them all together. But even for those who are here just recently, wow, our community does some good things. And yeah, you can stay home on those Fourth Fridays, but you can also come out and be a part of it and celebrate, and it's a good thing. Thank you, Mr. McQueen, for coming this evening concerning the sale of the land. I look forward to the work that will be done out there and the conservation, and how it will also help with us as a city to correlate how we receive our water, and take us to those next decades, in 20 years and 40 years, that we're able to be that community that God has called us to be, and we can be that help. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Reed, and congratulations.
Thank you. I will receive it.
Carol?
I want to say that my thoughts and prayers go out to all that have suffered the damage from the storm. It's been devastating. I think somebody living here may not be seeing everything that's happened in different areas around here, but there's a lot. And I am thankful that there's help out there for them. Congratulations to Brian on the golf course, and to Maxim. And congratulations to Crystal Wright on your service. This is going to be a little hard for me. Tonight is my last night. I want to thank the citizens for giving me the opportunity to give back to this wonderful community. The first time I drove through Siloam Springs, I thought I had moved to paradise, and you know what? I had. It has been a privilege to serve on the board and with the many directors that have served with me, as well as the city administrators and staff. There's been so much that has come about in this city while I've served on the board, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of that. I've seen a new administration building, a library, fire stations, the kayak park, the Woka Park, Parks and Rec building, an aquatic center, a splash pad, an animal shelter that I'm very proud of to be a part of, a maintenance shop, a new hospital, which was very important. We've had roads built that weren't there, the Woka Park, and so many more amenities added to our growing community. Thank you, you the citizens. For the opportunity of a lifetime. Continue on. Thank you. Support. My friend Katie, she's always been behind me. She's supporting the Planning Commission right now. So I know we're all in good hands. I know the board's going to do a fabulous job, and I'm looking forward to see the future. Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
I love all of you. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I'm sorry. I just want to thank Ms. Carroll. I'm going to try to talk family and to get me one more meeting because I would like to honor you. And I know this board would like to do something in a last meeting if you can make it, but if you can't, we understand. But 20 years of service is amazing. You have been a friend to me. You've been a boss to me. You've been a counselor and a mentor. And thank you for just helping me learn. And, you know, it's 5 years, it's hard to believe, you know, it's coming up for me, but you're going to be missed. I'm going to miss you personally.
Thank you very much. And I think I can probably talk them into bringing me one more time.
She's going to have to come back because we're going to be having to honor her.
And I
Yeah.
appreciate that very much.
No, you just plan on it whenever it's good for your time.
I love this community, and it's given me a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, that's hard to follow.
Yes, it is.
Because people come and go, staff, board members, but just like Sue England was here for 27 years, for the last 2 decades, Carol was here. It'll be hard to not have her here. But we appreciate her very much. And her hubby, the local celebrity and comedian, Dr. Doug Smiley, is in our audience with his family. And I've known him a long time, and I can tell you, he is going to publish his book of limericks and jokes. He knows more than anybody I've ever known. But Carol is not just on this board for 20 years. She was on the hospital board. She was on the planning commission. She was getting geared up to get on this board, and she got a lot of practice on those other, and it was at least before the year 2000 that she got involved in city business. So this is my second time to be involved on the board with her, and she is, I'll just say it, a legend.
Thank you, David.
A legend. I'm glad to see that we're going to have a new and enhanced fireworks display, Chief. I have been encouraging that for several years, and I'm glad. I mean, when you do the same thing over and over and you start hearing, well, Gentry's is better than, I'm like, we got to do something different. So thank you, Chief. I did get several text messages when the tornado was going through north of us. That people heard the sirens. There were some that did not. It's still hard to hear sometimes in the home. And I still believe we need more. I still believe there's places that have some dead spots that we can possibly add some additional ones. But it was a heck of a lot better than the tornado of 2019 when people did not hear them. So I was very appreciative of that. It is hard to believe the flood was 50 years ago. And it cost $17 billion back then in $74. I was just a kid. We lived on a hill out in the country, and it was really hard to watch our farm animals floating by, pigs and piglets and cows, and just being able to do nothing. So those of us in the country saw it different than what the city did. And but you know, I've seen the photos over the years, people on the roof of buildings. Our police chief at the time, Tommy Himes, was in a flat bottom fishing boat going down Broadway, trying to help people that were stranded. One guy had climbed a tree and had to have help, and he was right down across the street from where Arkansas State Bank used to be. And there was a big safe stuck in the bottom of the creek after everything drained. Somebody's safe had, and a truck was crossing the bridge down in Twin Springs Park. It was crazy. But Siloam is known for having a heart for helping. I remember when Hurricane Katrina happened, and there was a huge outpouring of our public going to Camp Siloam to help what they were calling the refugees, because they had nowhere else to go. And we're so thankful that many of them decided to make Siloam their home. But we are here and have to live through the natural disasters that come our way. I'm very appreciative to Crystal Wright for serving 20 years with our PD. Serving with all those officers could not be a very easy job, so I have to hand it to her. I learned that another longtime PD employee, Gwen Suber, worked at the city police department for many, many years, and she passed away this weekend, and my thoughts and prayers go out to her family. I've known her kids all my life, and I think at least one, maybe both, that had worked at the city at one time. And just lastly, Carol, you've seen a lot of changes. I have. And you named off so many of the buildings and things that have been built, and progress, new high school, new hospital on city land. So, you know, you've been right there, and your name is in the record for voting for these things. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you very much, David.
And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.